Hi, this is Ricky Martinez, and I'm here to talk about Broken Blue and what I've added to the project since I've been here. I'm going to show you the cinematic I made in virtual reality, which means that you're able to look around and view the world as you're watching the cinematic. You're not just stuck watching a video. And I'll also show you the controls that I added, the animations and effects that I've added for the controllers when you actually press buttons to move around the world. And the tutorial that I created that is a little bit more intuitive and quicker so that it's not long and boring and looks a little bit better too. So here we go. So this is the start of the cinematic. I did make everything from scratch except for some of the 3D models I stole from the asset store. I made the particle effects on the flame you see there. I made the particle effect on the sun you see back there. I made all of the animations, so he's about to grab the sun. This is him explaining that they steal suns to power their energy, and he stole that right out of the galaxy. And then I make another animation here where he steals the sun from a planet that has life on it, which is not allowed. That was breaking their rules, so they went and they made a device to represent the power of the sun. And so I have an animation where I drop the device on the Earth and it powers the Earth or whatever, and it makes it look like it's powering, but some unpredictable event caused the device to break, and it's like the storm or whatever. And again, this is all in VR. You're able to look around, do whatever you want. This is you coming to Earth to fix the problem. So you get in your little thing and you come in and you're watching yourself in the TV right now fall to Earth, and then you crashed and everything's broken, so you got to kind of like figure out what to do next. So you look around. So this is like the entry to the tutorial that I made, and it's pretty simple. After you crash, you get to start. This is like the main menu right here. This is you starting the game, and it starts you off in that crash site. So you're going to see the crash site when you first start, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, I know where I'm at. So the first thing you see is that little blue mesh semi-sphere kind of thing. That is to help you aim. That didn't used to be there, something I added. I had to figure out how to do wireframe for the mesh, and I also had to like do a little bit of math to make sure that it only showed up when you were actually aiming the controllers together, pointing them at each other. So the next effect you see is when you pull one trigger and two triggers. This is the two trigger one that you see currently. It's a glowy disc that kind of like points at you and at the direction of north, or just the constant direction to help you remember where you're at. But it's there because it actually scales the world as you go in and out, and it rotates the world as you rotate around it. So you can see it rotates. Now the other effect is when you move. I made this little ripple effect, which I had to make my own shader for, and my own normal maps, which were pretty fun to make, I guess. Quite a pain during some things, but the particle effect just emits a certain type of normal map that runs through my shader, and it grabs a scene in the background and renders it, and then I deflect the pixels based off the normal map. I also made this little panning texture tube here. I didn't make the 3D model. My teammates helped me make that. They made the tube, and I am panning the texture around the mesh, which actually was really easy, but it took me a long time to figure out. I made the spark particle effects here. I'm doing collision and actual collision detection with the particles, so that's pretty cool because it's running on the GPU. This is just I did a bunch of different things with it, so just a different amount of particle effects I have. I also made this little weird cube thing that looked like a spaceship with the curved TV and the camera that's rendering onto the texture, so that was a little bit of fun to do. This would be the start of the tutorial where you put your controller onto that. It's kind of obvious what you have to do since it's blinking orange. Obviously you have to do something, and it creates this new tube, and the new tube also is the same panning texture, and it tells you where to go next. The tornado I also made. I made the tornado that's rotating around right now. This is kind of like the one that you've seen when the planet broke the device or whatever. It's a lot smaller now. It's not as dangerous. Obviously the screen isn't shaking and stuff like that. The particle effect I made for that shader, the transparent one, actually was rendering over it and taking away that particle effect. So I had to actually make it work with particle effects. It was kind of a pain to figure out how to do that. It was mostly just the timing of the render. The highlighting of the monkeys and the controller you've seen, I also did. That is to help you guide you tell you where to go. And then the monkey will start interacting with you as you play forward. Now, the monkey interactions are not really built in right now. As of right now, he's just kind of walking towards point A to point B. There's certain blocks he'll climb over if you name him a certain object, and you can pick up the objects and place them wherever you want. That was something that was in the game before I was here. That was something that they added. They wanted to make more interaction with the monkey, so that's going to be what I'm working on for the next 2 months. But this is pretty much it. This is the whole game as of right now, except for there are 6 puzzles that are in the game and implemented, but I'm obviously not going to show you that. That would take way too much time. So there you go. There you have it.